What's up, nerds? So Black Swan just dropped in Honkai Star Rail, along with Penacony and Patch 2.0. It is Hype Town in Honkai Star Rail right now, and I hope you're enjoying yourself. But the fact that Black Swan just dropped means that Black Swan has officially gotten her tier list placement, so let's go ahead and take a look at it, because there are some factors at play here that are definitely going to surprise you. So stay tuned and actually watch some of this video instead of just seeing her placement, because it's important to understand why she ended up getting that placement. Alright, you know the drill by this point. Let's see who we can piss off today by simply talking about the most well-respected tier list in the Honkai Star Rail community. Now, I don't always agree with everything on these tier lists, but that's why it's important to talk about these things, because, you know, if I just, told you guys, hey, look at where Black Swan ended up, that wouldn't be very valuable, would it? We need to talk about why she was placed here. We need to talk about whether we agree with her being placed here or not. We need to talk about some of the different factors that are at play. We need to talk about the calculations that were done in order to get to this point, because I have to be honest with you, I don't really agree with some of the stuff that was done in some of the calculations for some of these characters. And I want to get into it and talk about why it's a little bit weird that some of the calculations have been done in the way that they've been done, and how it's a little bit unfair to compare some of them together. So please stick around for, some of this video, because this is going to be really important, and some of this is definitely going to surprise you. So stay tuned. I know I'm going to be waffling a little bit at the beginning here, but just stick with me, okay? So we're going to completely avoid Pure Fiction because it hasn't updated. Even though it just dropped today, it hasn't updated yet. So just keep that in mind. We're going to avoid that completely and stick to the currently active Memory of Chaos, because the previous one to this one are pretty much the same in terms of weaknesses and stuff like that. Nothing has really changed that much. So it's totally okay to look at the Memory of Chaos tier list without, having to worry too much about the fact that there are two currently available Memory of Chaoses active right now, but they're roughly the same in terms of their tier list value, just so you guys are aware, okay? Now, let's take a look at where Black Swan has been placed. Black Swan has been placed at S tier because she is a DOT queen, and she's sitting right here next to good old Kafka. You're looking at the two nicest butts in the entire game sitting right next to each other. Those are some booty cheeks, I'll tell you what. God damn. But listen, Black Swan is a DOT queen, and she deserves to be placed here where she has. Some of you might even wonder to yourself whether she should actually be placed higher, and we'll get into that in just a moment. Now, one of the things about Black Swan, unfortunately, is that she's a little bit slow at the start. She takes a little while to get her talent and her different abilities to really start working at, a very, very meaningful level. And what I mean by that is, yes, of course, she's a DOT character. That's damage over time. Duh. But what I mean more than that, to get all of her abilities working, you kind of need to be aware of what you're doing, and it doesn't happen literally right away. Having to wait for the enemy's turn to go off in order for you to get what you really want out of the character is not something that's really, really quick. It's not like Snappy. You don't get the same type of results as quick as you would with someone like Dr. Ratio, for example, or someone like Dan Hung Ambibiter Lune, or Sela, QQ, or Jing Liu. You get the point. With someone like Black Swan, even more so than Kafka, you really don't get to have that immediate return on your investment in terms of the damage that you're doing. It takes a sec to kind of get working. So that's part of why I believe that she's not sitting up here at S+ tier. But let's get into the other reasons why and talk about these damage comparisons here real quick. So this is the part that I think is kind of a little weird for me, because you're going to see some numbers and be like, what the hell? Yeah, take a look at the single target damage. This is pretty normal. Nothing too crazy there. Let's compare it to Jing Liu. Okay, yeah, not quite as much. No big deal. Dan Hung, yeah, pretty solid number right there. Very skill point hungry, though, unfortunately for Dan, which is normal. We knew that already. But when you look at Dan's 3 target scenario right here. So this is, by the way, this is a simulation. So keep this in mind. These are simulated numbers and not indicative of what everyone's doing in battle. But let's just compare because these are here. You have almost 900,000 damage. You have Jingli almost 800,000 damage. And Black Swan has 1.3 million damage. What the frick, dude? Okay. And yeah, you're using an actual average. You have an average skill point usage with this character. With Jingli Yu, she's incredibly skill point efficient. That's part of what makes her so good. Your other characters can spam skill points, and that's what makes the team value overall in a Jingli Yu team more valuable than other teams right now. With Dan, poor guy, poor Dan, he uses so many gosh damn skill points that you have to really like consider what you're doing with the rest of your team. And so the team synergy, the team power output as a whole is not necessarily as high as the Jingli Yu team because they can't spam their skill points with the other characters. So that's an unfortunate thing for Dan. And with Black Swan, this is a pretty average amount of skill points being used by a damage dealing character. So that's all normal. Now, what is the part that I was talking about that I don't really like with these calculations? So if you've already clicked off the video, you know, sucks to suck, I guess. Let's take a look at the build that was used to make these calculations. I feel like the Black Swan build that's being used is very, very highly invested. Like, this is a very well invested and well built Black Swan. And I'll get to that in just a second. The Dan Heng build that was used, I don't feel like this is that great of a Dan Heng build, in my personal opinion. Call me crazy, but I don't know if a crit rate body is what you want to be using, for example. Why are we using a crit rate body? Like, why couldn't we get better crit rate stats and then run a crit damage body, right? Why are we using speed boots? You know what I mean? Like, why is Dan using speed boots? Why is he not using attack boots? You know, why is Jingli Yu using speed boots? You know what I mean? She's got the crit damage body, of course. That wouldn't even make any sense because she gives herself so much crit rate in battle. You know, Jingli Yu got some different relics that have been switched up here. She's using a 2-piece Pioneer of Dead Waters, the new set, and 2-piece Ice set. This is generally fine, though. This is something that a lot of players will be able to achieve. This is a normal Jingli Yu build. You can get this, right? This is pretty normal. Dan Heng, though, I feel like this is, like, kind of mid. Pardon me if I'm a little wrong about that, but I don't know. I feel like a lot of players can do better than this. But with Black Swan, this is a highly invested Black Swan, in my opinion, because Black Swan wants super duper high effect hit rate. So yeah, of course, you run your effect hit rate body. And yeah, you got your Pan Cosmic Commercial Enterprise here. This is the planar set that gives you some effect hit rate. All of this makes sense, but look at the light cone that's being used. This is the new light cone from Penacony. It's Showtime. And here are the stats right here, but I'm going to show you guys in game because it's a little bit easier to see. This has no effect hit rate on it at all. It does have some good damage, though. This gives you some good damage, like 30% damage, 30% increased damage, and it also gives you some attack at a high effect rate value. And you're going to have effect hit rate, so you don't have to worry about that. You're going to get all of the bonuses from this on your Black Swan. But it doesn't have any effect hit rate at all. So you have to rely very heavily on effect hit rate substats. And so this character, or this build, is pretty darn highly invested because I've calculated this out. The build currently that they're using has 107.6 effect hit rate. This is not quite the amount of effect hit rate that we really, really want, so keep that in mind. This could technically be better. My bad, I accidentally forgot her sub traces. It's actually 117.6% effect hit rate. But that's why a lot of players would want to use a different light cone on her, like Eyes of Prey, or her signature light cone, something like that. You're relying on some really, really good effect hit rate substats in order to be able to reach these numbers. This is why I'm calling this a pretty well-invested Black Swan build. Now, yeah, of course, a lot of players are going to be able to do this. This is in no way impossible at all. At all. It really is not. But when you already have to use an effect hit rate body, you aren't able to get effect hit rate percentage in at least one of the relic pieces that you're using here. So yeah, that kind of factors in. So you only have like a certain amount of relics that you can even get the effect hit rate substats on. So it limits you a little bit there. Now, I'm not saying that this effect hit rate number is impossible. Like I said, a lot of players can get this, but that's why I was trying to compare like what I would say is somewhat of a mid build, somewhat of a normal build, and then a more highly invested build here. And so it's a little bit weird that we have to sort of compare a highly invested build with a pretty inflated number compared to other characters that I don't feel like have the right builds. Like, I don't feel like these are the builds we want to be using. Let's not forget that they're running speed boots on Jing Liu and speed boots on Dan. Now, don't get me wrong. I feel like if you have a DPS character that you have highly invested into, you should have a pair of speed boots and a pair of attack boots for different situations. Different situations call for different things. But in my personal opinion, I think in most cases, you'd want to have attack boots on your Dan Heng and attack boots on your Jing Liu. Now, yes, Black Swan is a DOT character, so you run speed boots on a DOT character. But that's why I feel like this is a really, really invested character. This is a midly invested character. This is like normal. And this character, this Black Swan build, seems to me to be like higher than average on the build quality that's being used here. So it just feels a little bit weird to me that the tier list might potentially be affected by this, because like I feel like the average build quality is not really the same for some of these characters. But interestingly enough, the Black Swan build that we see here only gets to S tier and doesn't go as high as S+. So they may have factored some of that into, you know, not putting her at S+. But I think the real main reason why she's not S+ is because she's a little bit slower on the damage. She doesn't get that immediate return after using her abilities. So that's, in my opinion, why she doesn't get the S+ tier ranking. And so I know I just said a whole lot of bullshit just to basically say, you know what? Despite the fact that I don't fully agree with the way that some of these calculations were done, I actually agree with the placement that they gave. And I think that part of the reason why that's happened, like I literally just said, is because of the fact that she doesn't get that immediate return on damage. And so, like, when you're trying to get really, really fast clears, like 0 cycles, 1 cycles, or like, you know, really fast clears, other characters are going to be able to do it more reliably than someone like Black Swan. Black Swan will have insane damage once she gets her damage to go off, but she just doesn't do it quite as quick on startup as some of the other characters in the game. So I know I've been waffling, I know I've been rambling a whole lot, but I thought it was important to talk about this stuff in a little bit more detail, because not every player is going to even come to this site and look at the things that I just showed you. It's important to understand why the placements are being made this way, and like why we don't always agree with the placements that are made, because, you know what I mean? I thought for a second I wasn't going to agree with the Black Swan placement after I saw some of these calcs, but in the end, I do agree with the placement that was made because of how slow on startup she is with her build-up. So if you found this information helpful or informative, consider leaving a like and subscribe, and I'll see you in the next one when I go over Black Swan again after I've properly tested her and make a Black Swan guide. I'll see you later. Peace out.